Hey, I'm Ren. Welcome to my channel. So we'll be building Hanya today. Let's do our best. I had made a show you video not long ago, and I guess it's only right for me to make a Hanya one as well. The two unlucky siblings from the Shinjo Alliance. I want to do right by them, but at the same time, I know very little about them. Not enough to have much of an opinion on them anyway. I guess that's the curse of most 4 stars. I kind of learned that trying to make an Arlen video. Moving on from that though, enough with my rambling. Let's move on to the actual build now. So because of the story I wrote for Shuyi, and how I like to interpret the lore behind the Shinjo Alliance, I decided to make Hanya an elf. Specifically a wood elf, which gives her an increase to her wisdom, movement speed, and the ability to hide in natural environments more easily than others. Elves are an ancient race of beings who are tied to the Fae. Like the Shinjo natives, they live for a very long time and have a timeless perspective on the world around them. Elves naturally have dark vision, they have an increase to their dexterity, they have proficiencies in perception, they don't need to sleep, and as stated before, wood elves have their own unique additions to their abilities as well. I picked wood elves specifically for Hanya, mainly as a reference to her and Shui's lore, how they were affected by the abundance, and the impact it had on them and their lives after what had happened. Giving her a more nature-focused elf lineage felt kind of fitting because of it. For classes, I decided to go with Wizard for her. As an interrogator for the Ten Lords Commission, in charge of charging and recording crimes, I felt like it suited her. I went with the Order of Scribes subclass, specifically for her because of that as well. I mean, her abilities is literally wielding a brush and tablets, so the Order of Scribes gives you access to a magic quill that you can use to jot down spells or other abilities further down the line. You can reflavor it into Hanya's brush if you wish to do so. At 2nd level, your spellbook also comes to life, acting as a spellcasting focus, and you can use it to replace the damage type of the spell you are using, with another that is also in your book. You can also shorten ritual spells too, especially if you're in a rush within the game. You can also replace the book during a short rest, and the consciousness can transfer into the new book instead if need be. Of course, you can scrap the whole consciousness thing entirely if you don't like it, and it can still work as intended. That is up to you to make, of course. But at 6th level, you can conjure forth the mind of the book and see through their eyes in an unoccupied space. The mind is intangible, glows ever so slightly, and it can take up whatever form you wish for it to be. You can hear and see through the spectral mind, it has dark vision, and can telepathically speak to you if you wish for it to have the consciousness. You can also cast spells through that spectral mind from your spell list, as many times equal to your proficiency bonus. You can cause the mind to hover 30 feet, and it can be dispelled by a spell, or if it moves 300 feet away from you. You can also only conjure it once per day, so just in case you wish to use it more than once. Moving on from all of that, you have Hanya's ability scores. I made it so that her highest should be her intelligence, then her wisdom. Next, I decided to go with constitution, dexterity, charisma, and then strength will have to be her lowest. Which is fine because wizards don't really need strength. For her background, I decided to pick investigator for her cause there wasn't really anything that suited her that properly. I couldn't really find something that is interrogator-like as a background, but this feels close enough, I guess. You can reflavor it if you need to make her seem more like a crime recorder who deals with punishments for those who have wronged others, if you want to. As for her feat, I decided to give her keen mind. It gives her an increase to intelligence and gives her some interesting abilities. You'll always know where north is, you'll always know how many hours before sunrise and sunsets. You can accurately recall things that happened to you in the past month, specifically what you've seen and what you've heard. You can argue that these abilities are quite useful, especially when prosecuting criminals. She doesn't have any additional languages to speak of, so we move on to her proficiencies instead. I kinda went full in on the gathering information part of Hanya's work than anything else. Someone who interrogates criminals and collects statements and work to punish the people for their crimes. History, investigation, insight, and arcana as a small reference to the suffering that they went through prior to being taken into forced labor on the Shenzhou. Anyway then, moving on from all of that, here are her spells. For her magic as a wizard, there are quite a few of them to choose from. These are just my recommendations for her and the spells that I think suited her the best. You guys can change it if you like to. These are just what I personally think makes sense on her. First up are two of her cantrips that I felt like made sense on her. Those being Toll the Dead and Spare the Living. Two spells that have something to do with death, and as a character that has found herself surrounded by it, it made sense that she'd know them either to remind herself of what happened, or to be merciful to those she doesn't want to actually harm. Next, I also gave her Mage Hand, since the spell is pretty useful. Whether it's to grab reports when she's busy with other work, or to do something for her when she doesn't feel like getting it herself. It also is a spectral hand that floats around, so it also fits the vibe of someone that's kind of ghostly as a character. Next, I gave her Snare, which, though her ultimate speeds up allies, you can use Snare as a sort of replacement, where this restrains the enemy instead. I also gave her Witch Bolt as a reference to her regular attack, Dark Secret, which gives you advantage on a target. She interrogates criminals, this is probably a good ability to have. Skywrite because, well, why not? It's just a little thing for a scribe wizard to have. Also, I gave a Thought Shield to protect herself from prying mages. Summon Undead because it's kind of a messed up reference to give her. And I also gave her Slow in case you don't like Snare, so this is a little replacement for that. I don't really have anything to add to her equipment, unless you want to add some scrolls or a small charm in there, just to flavor her character a bit more. Other than that though, I don't really know. It's up to you to choose and up to your DM to suggest what you can change about it, so that they fit better into the game that they might be put in. Anyway though, after all of that, it's time to write her backstory. I don't really have anything prepared for her, but let's try, shall we? Here's what I have. A bright blue sky, butterflies with vibrant wings. She missed the way her sister used to look at her, how they would run through the fields on a sunny day, and make flower crowns, and play together, as if there was nothing else in the world that could come for them. How nothing in the world could ever hurt them. She still doesn't know what happened that day. It was a flash of bright light, and then she was running towards something. Her sister's body was unrecognizable. Her remains were charred almost completely into ashes, but she still recognized the white and green coat, still draped over what remained of her arms and torso. She wanted to scream. She wanted to make the people who hurt her pay, but she knew she was powerless against them. She thought she heard her sister's voice, but it was the soldiers who had come to rescue them, who had dragged her off her feet and yanked her back from that thing. She saw the bloodshed. She saw the corpses writhe and rise up from the flames, covered in strange growths that seemed beyond their world. They took her in, and those soldiers interrogated her, questioning her about why she was there, and why she was speaking to that thing. Even though she knew she did nothing wrong, it seemed as though her pleas were only met with deaf ears from all of them. She didn't speak to them. She was yelling at them, daring them to fight her, so she could avenge her sister's death. She would never collaborate with those things. But it was as if nothing she said could reach them. They called her a traitor, an abomination that had become cursed by something. The thing that she didn't dare to name, lest they use it against her as evidence of her betrayal. What were those things anyway? What was all of that? They brought the dead back to life. They went against everything they knew about life and death, and yet, this is your karmic debt, isn't it? becoming a judge within the system that wrongly accused you of treason. A young girl asked her, with a pitifully quiet tone. She did not respond, only stared ahead at the open window, watching a vibrant butterfly land on the sill. She no longer felt as though she had the will to argue anymore, the world dulling her from the person she used to be, the life she once had, the people who she had lost, and that something. But even still, she still dreams of the field of wildflowers, two little girls running towards the sunlight. Maybe, one day, she might be allowed to return to those peaceful times again. Maybe, one day, she might be allowed out of the lightless world again. Just a little video for Hanya here. I'm not sure if I can write more than I have for her, mainly because I don't really know what I could say about her in general. I did give her an interesting hook for her story, just a little side thing that you can use to unite Hanya and Shuyi within the game itself. It makes the story more interesting that way, if you want your DM to bring Shuyi back one way or another. That, or you can do something else with it. You know, make it a bit more tragic somehow. But yeah, Shuyi and Hanya probably have one of the more intriguing 4-star stories out there. That gives a very interesting perspective of the Alliance itself, and what it stands for. It's a lot more interesting that way anyway, don't you think? But on that note, let me end the video now, before I start rambling about my feelings towards the Shenzhou Alliance, and my struggles with its story. So then, thank you for watching, like and subscribe if you like, and I'll see you all next time. Take care!